Hi everybody, I want to talk to you about the data design that I developed and came up with and would like to see piloted through our program this year. So this is the USD 107 Math Data Pilot Program, and this will be year 1 of 2. We're going to do it for 2 full years through to see if we notice any changes at all. So first I want to discuss the purpose. So the purpose of doing this is to collect data mastery of students at an individual level. I want to be able to see what standards they are and are not meeting. When will this be done? This data will be reviewed on Wednesdays during our PLC time and also on bi-weekly Mondays at our early release PLC in-service afternoons. Okay. So then I have on here how you're going to do this. Well, you're going to make a copy of the Google Sheets link above, and then I want you to name it your grade level, last name, and then the year. So for example, mine would be second, Dusky 22/23. So let's take a look real quick at what it is that I have created for each grade level to use. So this that I have right here this is our Chapter 1 test, and these are results from my class on our Chapter 1 test. So I have here the question number and then the standard that is aligned with that question, and then I have my list of students. If I check mark it, it means that they met the skill. If it is in red, it means that they did not meet this skill. Okay, so this is just kind of an overview of what I have for Chapter 1. So then you would have a separate sheet for each chapter. I teach 12 chapters in math throughout the year, so I will have 12 sheets by the end of the school year. Okay, let me go ahead and go back to my handout. Okay, so I'm going to create a new sheet for each chapter test, which I told you I'm going to add in my student names. So I'm going to put my student names over here on the left-hand side, first and last, just first name, whatever's easiest for you. And then I'm going to add the number of questions throughout that test and then the standards that are linked to each question. Okay, and then like I said, I'm going to check mark the box if they meet the standard and then leave it blank and code it red if they meet the unmastered standard. Okay, so after I've collected all the data, I'm going to meet with my team during Monday's early release. I'm going to share data, compare standards, mastered versus unmastered, and create likability math groups to meet for the following 2 weeks. Okay. So when you review that data that I have, you can see that my friend John did not meet any of my 2 MBT 3s. Okay, so when I'm creating those groups, I'm going to make sure that he's in a group that is focused on that standard and that he's with other peers who also need help in that standard. Okay, so then I have here that we're going to do 10 school days of providing structured intervention. Now what? Then I'm going to test them and see how they do on version 2 of the chapter test, only asking them to take the questions that they missed, which would be the standards that they didn't yet master. Okay, and then I have a plan for what happens if they did master it and what happens if they didn't. Okay, I have some questions down here at the bottom to guide you while you're comparing your data, like when we talk about the positives that we see, because it's important that we talk about positives and as well as drawbacks, like what standards were you most commonly seeing mastered? How many lessons covered that standard? What did you do outside of core to instill that standard? And then asking those same kind of questions, but what was a drawback when we were reviewing the data? What standards was most commonly missed? How many lessons covered that? And then did you do anything outside of core to support that? Okay, so let's plan ahead for next year. Are there lessons that we can omit because everybody met this standard, or did we need that many standards? Are there some lessons that we can combine? What extra support, if any, do we need to see improvements on those unmastered chapter tests for our following year? And then if this is year 2 or when this gets to be year 2, how does our data compare to the students from last year? Are we seeing similar trends, or are we improving with our implementation of biweekly data collection to guide math centers? So this is the handout that I would provide, and then this is the spreadsheet that I would provide for them to use and color code and do what best works for them. Thank you.